I played that too, cause everything, I do everything, yeah. Everything, I do everything, yeah. Cause I do that, they gon' clap. I do this, I do that, and they gon' dance and they gon' clap just because everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the third edition of the Birdie Brothers Podcast, a Masters special. Today, I am ecstatic and grateful to be here in the beautiful San Luis Obispo with this amazing background alongside my good friend Benjamin Graham. And today is the Tuesday before the Masters. Hands down, my favorite golf tournament of the year for many reasons, which we'll get to in this podcast. But before we get started here, I want to kick it to Ben so he can give a nod to some of our sponsors.
That's right. Sorry, I had to pour up the juice there. And Luke, what do we have here to drink?
Today, in honor of the Masters tournament, we're drinking some azaleas, which for those of you that don't know is vodka, lemonade, and grenadine. So apparently they serve it at the Masters every year, and it's kind of a popular drink on the grounds of Augusta. So
it is delightful, especially on a nice spring day like today. All right, so let's thank our sponsors real quick. The first being Wolf, the only game you can still lose money by beating your opponents. And the missed 3-footer, God's way of reminding you there is no God.
thank you to the sponsors.
Thank you. Cheers.
They just keep rolling in. So, Ben,
Yes, sir.
it's Masters week, man.
Yeah, it is.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
We had the November Masters in the fall, which was it didn't seem like the normal Masters vibe. Like, at least I didn't get it. It was kind of the wet conditions. Guys were going pretty low. Cameron Smith was it was the first time in Masters history that someone had shot all 4 rounds in the 60s.
That's right.
Like Cameron Smith.
Yeah.
Which is just pretty much because of the conditions, I would think. And then obviously the winner, Dustin Johnson, shot a tournament record 20 under. So that's probably because of the conditions too. I mean, the what I've seen so far this week, it seems like the players are admiring how firm and fast the course is going to be this week, and they're kind of excited for that challenge compared to back in November. So
Yeah.
should be a fun test of golf to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's gonna be different than what we saw in November. So it should be fun.
So what do you have your eye on this week? Are you looking at any players? Are you looking at any holes? Like what are you looking for this week?
Well, in terms of players, I'm looking at how DJ is gonna do. I guess it's what is he? He's defending his Masters title.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see how he's been playing pretty good, but we'll see how he does. I'm interested in watching number 15. That's always a hole I love watching. From a strategic standpoint, it lends some interesting plays, whether off the tee or when you're approaching the green. It can be quite tricky. And I'd like to go into a little bit further depth later on in the podcast about that hole.
Yeah.
But let's talk about our picks, huh? Because we got some picks, right?
We can talk about our picks. We can get them out of the way before we go deeper into the actual tournament. But,
good. Spieth all the way, baby.
No, I'm thinking I honestly haven't really thought about it. I do have a sleeper this week in Lee Westwood.
Lee?
I remember growing up watching Lee quite a bit at the Masters. He was always contending. Just obviously great ball striker. I saw recently this week a stat that was kind of mind-blowing. It was basically the last 10 years, the winners in the last 10 years have been in the top 10 in strokes gained tee to green. So
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
we're looking for ball strikers here.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Obviously, I mean, one of the reasons I love watching the Masters so much is just like the course is it's timeless and it's so fun to watch the different strategies on that golf course.
Yep.
In terms of, I have a couple quotes I want to read from Bobby Jones, who was obviously the founder of the Masters tournament or Augusta, and he helped Alistair McKenzie, who was a course architect, kind of engineer and design this course that's kind of stood the test of time. And yeah, I mean, you gotta like the stat I just mentioned. You gotta be a good ball striker, and then obviously the greens are maniacal, and
Vocab.
you have to be able to get your ball in the hole. Like in many, like it's not just like you have to do one thing well. Like you have to do pretty much every single aspect of the game of your game has to be on that week. That's why I enjoy watching it so much.
I feel that. I think that most people think about when you're talking about this strokes gain. What would you say? Approach, or what did you say?
Tee to green.
Tee to green.
So all the strokes gained combined except for putting, basically.
Okay. So yeah, but when you think about Augusta, like most people think about the greens and how insane they are and how tough they are to putt on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it makes sense if you're talking about ball striking. The closer you are to the hole, the less crazy putts you're gonna have, the easier opportunities for birdie you're gonna have. Good ball strikers, really good ball strikers, will know where to leave it, so they leave themselves the easiest putt. There's some crazy ass putts on that golf course.
Mm-hmm.
I think of 13 when I think of some crazy putts. Like if you were above the hole, putting down below, or same with 16. 16, right? If it's a Sunday pin and you leave it up on the right, I mean, there's no way you're gonna. I mean, your lag putt's gonna be 5 feet at best from the hole. So, so precision ball striking is important, especially into the greens.
Yeah. And I'd love to. So I did a little bit of research on just like the course in general, because obviously it's a famous golf course. Bobby Jones is pretty notorious for being a huge part of that. But it's an interesting, because kind of going back to our conversation last week, we touched on golf course architecture a little bit.
Yeah.
And he has some pretty good quotes. There's also a book that I found that I'm definitely going to read. It's called The Spirit of St. Andrews. And it's just a little bit, or it's a book about golf course architecture, and just it's a little bit about, what all the great architects have, like their philosophy. It's like a philosophy book for golf architecture. So it's kind of a cool book that maybe I'll pick up later. But so Bobby Jones, this is kind of, I'll read some quotes that he was saying this back in the 30s when the course was being designed. So here he says, quote, "The first purpose of any golf course should be to give pleasure, and that to the greatest possible number of players, without respect to their abilities." So that's an interesting thing to say, because it's like I said, what we were talking about last week was that's one of the great things about golf is you can go play the same. You can't go play Augusta, but you can go play the same course. You could play Pebble, like we said, Harding Park, different public tracks, and you can go play them and basically put yourself up against the pros, and everyone has an opportunity to make a birdie or to make a par, or to shoot a good score on a course that you just watched a bunch of the pros play. So it's interesting that he's kind of trying, like even back then, he's trying to tailor his golf course architecture to all skill levels.
Yeah, it doesn't discriminate between good players or bad players, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a good sign.
Yeah.
So do you want to hop into golf course architecture, or are we talking about Augusta right now? Or?
Yeah, definitely Augusta, but kind of a follow-up on that quote, he elaborated on it and said, quote, we want to make bogeys easy if frankly sought. It's kind of how they talked back then a little bit. You got to think about it. I'll restart because I kind
Okay.
of botched it.
All right.
We want to make bogeys easy if frankly sought, pars readily obtainable by standard good play, and birdies, except on par 5s, dearly bought.
Dearly bought. What do you think that means? Dearly bought.
Like, you gotta hit like quality golf shots to make birdies. You can't kind of like BS a birdie, but and then he leaves out the par 5s, which is interesting because definitely as players are hitting it farther, some of these holes are just turning into auto birdies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that idea. Dearly bought par 5s. I think those are hard to come by nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. And I mean, that's another thing about this course is
The par 5s are, I think, timeless. I think 13 plays a little bit easier now because people can just kind of bomb it over the corner. If you don't know, 13's dogleg, par 5, dogleg left, and people are just able to take it over the trees. Like Bryson's going to take an insane line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Should just clear it over all the trees on the left and have like a flip wedge in.
Mm-hmm.
But like 15, like I was talking about, that's just a great hole. And I'll go into depth talking about it. So I want to dissect the 15th hole at Augusta National, and 15's a par 5. And I want to talk about what Alister MacKenzie might have been thinking about as he designed this hole. So let's start away from the tee to the green. Okay, so off the tee, what players will see is they got trees that are going to potentially block them out on the left side of the fairway if they're to take it up the left, and the right side is open. But if you miss it right, you're going to leave it in those trees or it's going to be a tough shot to get it on the green if you miss right.
Yeah.
So the thought process is, well, if I miss it right off the tee, I got basically no chance of going for it in 2. But if I miss it just left, I might be able to hook it around the trees and put it up on the green or
Right.
just off the green. The crazy thing about that is, though, I think Alister MacKenzie was trying to tease the players, make them think that it's okay to miss left, when in reality, it's really hard to hit a hook from like 220 out or even 200 yards out and hold that green, because there's water like right in front and there's water beyond too. So you can't just like pump it and be like, okay, I cleared the water, I'm good now. Because if you catch a bad bounce on the downslope of that green, it just runs off and goes into the pond on 16. So you have to. So even if you do miss it just left and give yourself an opportunity, you still have to hit a hell of a second shot to leave it on the green.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to a layup shots aren't even easy on that hole because the way that they play the greens at Augusta are firm and fast, but you can catch them pretty spinny sometimes, like on the greens. So if you're leaving yourself like an 80-yard wedge shot, right, or let's say a 100-yard wedge shot, and most tour pros are going to put a lot of spin on that ball, they got to control their spin. It's also coming off a downhill lie, which that kind of helps them out a little bit. But at the same time, it's like I've seen so many balls when guys lay up spin too hard and come back into the water.
Sergio.
Yeah, that's a great example. What do you make?
He
like
made like a.
I thought it was like an 11 or something.
It's something like that.
It was something
10.
huge.
In the first round too, so it kind of like.
Yeah, you can't make an
almost
11
took
on
him
the
out of
first
the
round.
tournament. Yeah.
But the point is that hole is so well designed from tee to green, and then once you get on the green, it's no bargain either. Because like, if you're going for the green in 2, and you put it on the right side of the green to a left pin, that's a long putt, and that's a fast putt too, because it's going down the hill. And so you just got to be precise in every way on that par 5, and I think that's the idea of what is it? What was it saying?
Dearly bought.
Dearly
For
bought
the birdies.
birdie.
Yeah.
That's totally a dearly bought birdie.
Yeah.
Because I mean, as we saw in the we see it in Masters time and time again, but that hole I think is probably the most important hole on the back nine. Because if you got the lead or you're near the lead on Sunday, back 9, 15, like you're trying to make a move or you're trying to be conservative but still make a good birdie, like you got to take that water on and you got to be clutch. Like remember when Tiger hit that freaking beauty on Sunday, just hit a high draw to like, and he knew exactly.
2019?
Yeah. And when he won. And just beauty, high draw, played it just like right center of the green, kind of fed it back a little bit left. He knew exactly where to leave that ball so he could have a nice 2-putt for birdie.
Yeah.
And then Francesco, right, he laid up, and it was kind of a tough angle. He didn't have a lot of green to work with between the water and the pin. And I really don't know exactly what happened there. I always thought that he clipped he hit it fat, but some people were saying that he clipped a pine cone in the tree. But I wasn't 100% sure.
It's difficult to tell because he's so stoic. Like he doesn't show emotion. So it's
Francesco.
Like, it's not like if that was Spieth, you'd know. Like
you're right.
He would let you know.
He'd
the
say,
mics
"Caught that fat."
Yeah.
He'd say, "Oh, you see that line?" Yeah.
But
yeah,
also,
say something like that.
Like that 15th hole, if you miss it long, that's something.
That's not good, man. If you miss it way long, you're in the water. If you miss it long, it's still a tough chip because you're chipping back towards the water.
Yeah, and if it doesn't check or you catch it, maybe a hair thin or with no spin, it's in the water.
Yep.
It's taking a drink.
Yep. You're taking double on that hole easy.
Yeah.
Probably trip.
So yeah, that's an interesting hole. I think just the whole back nine is just amazing.
Yeah.
Like talk about a great finishing 9. Like,
yeah.
You got to be kidding. Like starting on, I guess you could say 11. Like 11's a great hole, I would say, and then 12, 13, 14, 15 are just spectacular holes.
Yeah.
And another quote from Bobby here is, quote, "One of the objects in placing hazards is to give the players as much pleasurable excitement as possible," which I think just totally rings true for that amen corner, that stretch of holes on the back nine where it's like the hazards are just so perfectly placed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like namely the water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess let's talk about 12 for a little bit because I love that hole too. It reminds me of number 7 at Turlock. Right?
Yeah.
The par 3. So the crazy thing, the thing about that hole that pros always say is so difficult is they say that that's the area of the course where like the wind kind of switches direction and you never know exactly where it is.
It's fickle wind.
So you're coming in on a Sunday and you got a chance to win the golf tournament and like you're worried about where the wind's going to be at on this 9-iron that you got to carry over water. Like,
yeah,
that'll make your nerves, perk up a little bit. So
it's just so fun to watch too.
Yeah.
I mean, like last year or 2 years ago or whatever, 2019 when Tiger won, that was honestly like the most intrigued I've ever been watching a golf tournament.
Dude, it was insane. I was losing my mind when guy after guy put it in the water.
It's one of those moments that you remember it for the rest of your life, like where you were.
Yeah.
When you saw basically Francesco dunk it. But preceding that you had, I think, Finau, Poulter, and Brooks, and maybe like one other guy, who were in the groups, like 1 or 2 groups ahead of Tiger. They were just dunking the ball. Yep. And Faldo was freaking out. He was like, "What are these guys doing?" Like that ball had no get up in it. Like it was just, and I don't know what happened. Maybe the wind did gust up. It's kind of difficult to tell on TV.
Yeah.
Because it could, like, I understand what they're saying because I've been in that position where like the wind switches, like within a matter of 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's just such a great hole. Like it's a short hole. If you know what you're doing, like. A great example of the whole like Augusta maturity, or like they talk a lot about how every year you learn a couple things, and like as you get older you start to know the course better, and then you see all these older veterans talk to the younger guys about like where to miss it, how to hit the little pitches and stuff. But like after Francesco hit it in the water in 2019, Faldo was literally like, yeah, Tiger's clearly, like before Tiger even hit a shot, he was like, Tiger's going to take the the jack route, the
He's
Jack Nicklaus
taking
route.
it 30 yards.
He's gonna
left of
hit
the
it
pin.
over that left bunker.
Yeah.
And take a 30-footer.
Yeah.
And it's
Yep.
just the like who knows?
It's the
if,
prudent play.
It's the prudent play, but like who knows if Brooks and Finau and Francesco were even trying to go for the pin? I doubt they were.
They weren't. They probably weren't, but they were probably taking. Well, they were definitely taking a more aggressive line than Tiger was. But here's the great thing about that hole, and here's something to understand in terms of architecture and how it affects a right-handed golfer in this situation. So this 12th hole, right? So I don't think you necessarily get the concept on TV because it just looks like it's over water and it's pretty, like the green is pretty straight on at you. But really, the green flows left to right, and so the left side of the green is shorter.
It's like slanted too, right?
Yeah,
it kind of goes.
it's angled. It's angled.
It's
So
angled, yeah.
so the left side of the green is much closer to you than the right side of the green.
Right.
So for a right-handed golfer, that makes it really difficult because for a right-handed golfer, if you pull it on this green anywhere, you're going to go long of the pin. And the reason why, when right-handed players pull their shots, it's going to go long. So you can think about it, the hole is angled in a way. If a right-handed guy pulls the shot, it's going to go long and left of the green and of the pin. And that's not an easy up and down. Those bunkers back there are tough.
Everything's just so small. It feels like.
Yeah,
Like once you
it's
get
very
up there,
narrow.
It's like the green is shallow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like our home course, Turlock Golf and Country Club is like it has a hole 7. It's very similar.
Yeah.
It's like it slants away from you, and if you're a right-handed golfer, like you have to cut like 8 or 9 iron.
Well, the thing is, if you overcut it, so if a player accidentally leaves one open, there's no cushion for a right-handed player to miss the shot because if they leave it out to the right, they're going to leave it short of the hole because of the way that it's angled. Because everyone knows when a right-handed player blocks it or leaves it out to the right, the ball's not going to carry as far as if you pull it.
It's going to end up short right. And,
exactly.
And then if maybe like in the back of your swing, or if you just subconsciously think that you can't miss right, you're gonna pull it, or you're gonna double cross, like a slight double cross, or you're gonna like kind of draw it a little bit, and
that's
you're
going
in the
over
back
the green.
bunker, and you're like kind of screwed. But it's just a great hole.
Yeah. So it takes some stones, and it takes some understanding of where you have to leave it in the situation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And another hole, so a hole that I'm always just like extremely curious, and I love to watch it, is 13 on the back, the hole after that par 3 that we were just talking about. Like I'm fascinated with just how players think their way around golf courses, and I've been looking a lot this week at how players are thinking about playing 13, because if anyone doesn't know, 13 is a pretty like relatively short par 5. If you hit a 10 to 20 yard draw, like if your stock shot is a 10 to 20 yard draw, and you hit that on that hole, it's perfect. It's a little bit of a dog leg left, and then if you block it or you don't hit a draw, you're going to be in some pine straw, and it's like 50-50 whether you're going to go for it or not. You still have a reasonable distance, but there's trees over there. It's just gonna bring more trouble into play, because there's a Rays Creek right in front of the green. There's a creek right in front of the green.
Yeah.
And so I'm just fascinated because obviously all these guys now are a lot of the top guys are faders. So you got like Morikawa, DJ, Rahm, Brooks. All these guys predominantly fade the ball off the tee, and it's interesting to see what they do on that hole. Like, do they pull 3-wood because 3-wood's easier to draw if you're a fader? Do they try and hook a driver? And that's like, and it's one of those holes where like if you're coming down the stretch on Sunday and you're in contention, like you want to birdie that hole at worst, because that's like, it's definitely going to be playing under par average, and some guys are going to be eagling it if they're drawers. Like Rory, that's a perfect hole for him. But so I've been listening to guys talk about it, and like DJ allegedly is okay with fading it on that hole. He's okay with taking it up over everything and hitting a fade.
If only we could all carry it 300 yards.
I think Morikawa said he's been working on a shot that's kind of more straight, kind of drawy to get around that corner. But it's just a great hole because you kind of have to draw it to have like an advantage. Have a shorter club in your hand going in, and and JT's another one. Like JT was hooking it at Sawgrass,
Mm-hmm.
so if he can play that shot on 13, that's money. But and then also like if you're trying to hook it and you hook it too much, then you're in Rays Creek or whatever creek that is, and you're struggling to make par, and that's so that's always a hole that I keep my eye on. And like Tiger in 2019, Tiger as of late has been fading it off the tee, and I heard an interview of him talking after the Masters, and he was saying that he figured out kind of like a couple weeks before the Masters, he figured out like a draw driver shot that he was working on before the Masters, and I'm pretty sure all 4 days like he drew it around that corner and he did well on it, and he probably made like 2 or 3 birdies on that hole. And it's just fascinating to like hear players talk about what shot shapes they're gonna hit.
Yeah.
When there's a hole that they encounter that you pretty much have to play a certain shot shape if you want to have like an advantage over the field.
Well, here's what I want to say about Augusta in general. It's awesome for us to watch because of many reasons. It's absolutely gorgeous. They keep that course in pristine condition.
Amazing.
The greens are always pure and firm and, well, for the most part, firm and fast. But the thing that I love watching, like you're talking about shaping the ball, is the artistry that you need to possess in order to play well on that golf course. Prime examples of people who have won there. DJ can shape fade all he wants, but I've seen him hit the draw a little bit. Like he hits his ball flight that he wants the fade every time, or most of the time. But he's very creative with the shot shape, with the ball flight. But more than that, someone like Sergio or someone like Tiger or Seve or Phil or these players that are able to create these really cool golf shots and move it both ways. What's interesting though? You know how they always say that's like Augusta is set up for a player with a draw?
Yeah.
Like Jack always played the fade.
Yeah.
He have 5 of them?
It's a good point. Yeah.
So it's like I just appreciate the artistry that you need to possess to shape the shots around the golf course, but also around the greens, the touch that you need, and the creativity on some of the putts. Some of the putts are pretty insane. So
yeah, and it's getting to that point where if guys can hit it high and play that 5 to 10 yard fade, like they can play these holes now. That's the thing. Like that's another thing to watch this week is Bryson, because he's gonna okay.
What? Say it.
Allegedly, he has this new driver that he's putting into play this week that he's been working on for 3 years.
Okay, is he gonna hit it 50 yards further?
Apparently,
play a big draw?
He's looking at driving number 1.
Oh my God! What?
If it's downwind, down off the right, which is
insane.
What's that hole? 390.
Yeah, 400 yards maybe.
Yeah, downwind off the right. He's looking at driving that hole, and you got number 2. Like, it's different now because we're talking about picks. Like, Bryson, I think about the 97 Masters when Tiger won, and he was hitting it 20, 30 yards by everybody. And that's basically why he won. Obviously he played well, but all the par 5s were par 4s for him. He was playing a par 68 out there.
Yeah.
And you look at the par 5s at Augusta, and Bryson with this new driver, and obviously the way he's been hitting it as of late, number 2, he's talking about having a wedge in.
Yeah.
If he can hit this towering draw over the corner, and now that the course is firm and fast, unlike November, he's going to have a wedge in. 15, if he hits in the fairway, he's gonna have 9 iron in, 9, 8 iron in,
Yeah.
like Tiger did in '97.
Yeah.
And
Just like at what was the U.S. Open? Where was the U.S. Open? We just talked about this.
Whistling Straits.
No. Where was it at last year when Bryson won? Sorry, I'm blanking. Must be the azaleas here.
Oh, Wingfoot.
Wingfoot.
Yeah. Sorry.
So just like Wingfoot played really firm and fast, the greens at Augusta should be firm and fast, and that should help Bryson.
But here's the thing about Augusta: the fairways are wider.
Yeah.
You look at 13. You look at 2. 2 has like an 80-yard fairway wide.
Yeah.
Like 13 and 2. I don't know how wide 15 is past those group of trees on the left, but
he can
8, like he's gonna carry that bunker no problem.
Yeah.
All these like, I don't know, man. I mean,
well, if he shoots 468, it's over. Maybe not. Well, let me think. What is that? That's 16 under par.
I would say that would do it.
That wins a lot of the time at Augusta. That wins a lot of the time. Probably 95% of the time. How firm is the course right now? Were you looking into this?
Yeah.
How firm is it right
They're
now?
saying it's pretty firm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a typical Augusta or like a little bit better?
It's hard to tell because obviously they played it 5 or 6 months ago, and it was a lot more damp and receptive. So I don't know if they're just speaking kind of relative to that or if they're just talking in general. But yeah, I mean, I listened to the main guys talk about it. Like I listened to the press conferences of Morikawa, DJ, JT, all these guys, and they're saying and Freddie, and they're saying it's firm and fast.
Okay.
So
cool.
So yeah, I mean, a guy like Bryson, he's going to be able to birdie, majority of the par 5s, and like some of the par 4s, like 1, like 3. He's going to be right up by the green pitching.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to watch that. But yeah, I mean, like, what do you think about because I listened to Cantlay. He was talking about how when you're growing up on TV, you think, like, as you're watching the Masters, you think that you need to shape the ball. You need to be an artist out there, like you were talking about. But he was saying yesterday that it's actually, like, once you get out there, you can play your stock shot on most of the holes.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. Like, there's room, he's saying. And
sure, there's room, but I'm just saying, like, some pin positions will be just like, if you're not going to shape it both ways, some pin positions you just can't go at.
Pin positions for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more
but
looking,
like off the tee, yeah, people can play a fade off the tee. I mean, it's not like we're not hitting down a hallway here. It isn't winged foot, I don't think. It is more open. So, but when it comes to shaping shots into the greens, I think that's important at Augusta.
Yeah, we'll see where the pins are on Sunday, but
Oh, by the way, Mom, this is a candy cigar. This is not real, so don't worry about it. Just wanted to clear that up. She'd probably be a little frustrated with me.
my cigar's real. But I smoke cigars twice a year, on my birthday and then during Masters Week. So it's like just kind of how it goes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. All right. What else are we going to talk about?
So I mean, the big story this week
What is it? What's the big story?
is the azaleas. You can see we got some azaleas behind us here.
Oh, yeah. Are they really azaleas?
Hey, come on.
Oh, yeah, they
Yeah,
are. They're
they're
totally
azaleas, for sure.
azaleas. They're beautiful. They're pink. We got a pink drink, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're having a good time here in Slow.
Campbell Vaughn.
Excuse me?
Campbell Vaughn is he's a flower expert.
No way.
And
Dude, you got some real insight here.
he's saying, yeah, I
Flower
got
expert?
some plugs. He's saying that this is going to be one of the best Masters in years in terms of the
Beauty?
flowers.
Really?
He said there was a long and cold winter, which basically means that the flowers are going to bloom more in the spring, and we're going to get some more colors and basically some more beauty. So it's gonna be cool to see that too, because like Augusta is, like you said, is a beautiful golf course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sure it'll be gorgeous as always. But if it's gonna be even more pleasant on the eye, then I don't mind it. Luke, we never discussed your pick, man.
Yeah.
Let's go to the picks. I want. Okay, so here's the deal. I want your guy who you're taking. Okay, but then I want one dark horse, one change up. God, we've been having a good time here in Slow. The preparation is in the separation right here.
I wish I thought about this. I didn't think you wanted to talk about picks, so I didn't think too much about the pick. I was trying to bring some more some more complex topics.
Yeah, no,
but
I'm
no,
always
I
down
mean,
for it.
you can definitely make picks pretty complex if you want, because you can look into it more, or you can just basically say like, I feel like Spieth's gonna win this week. He's won last week, but you can actually look into it.
Just shout a name out. I'm gonna shout a name out. Jon Rahm. That's my boy. He's been playing good. He played well in the WGC. I think it's his time. I think it is his time.
Just had a kid.
He had a kid?
Yeah. How much research are you doing on your picks, man?
I'm keeping it up. I'm keeping up the research right here.
He had a kid a week
That's right.
ago.
No, Wilsey was telling us about that. Yeah. No, Wilsey was telling us about that. Yeah, no, he's gonna play great. He's just got a kid. I'm a follow in my footsteps of my boy. I'm a call it Jon Rahm. He's been playing well, man. You get a baby, you gotta think, man, this kid's gonna be expensive as hell.
Yeah.
Gotta make some more moolah.
So I guess so did you download the Masters app this week?
No,
There's
was I
a-
supposed
there-
to?
I mean, I normally do.
Okay.
The
I watched it on my laptop. Not the Masters app, but like Masters.com.
yeah.
That's legit.
So on the Masters app this year, there's this new thing. They're doing a fantasy.
Okay.
So you're gonna pick 4 guys.
Okay.
You got a past champion. So you pick a past champion. You pick an American. You pick a first timer, and then you pick a international.
Okay. Do
So
you
you
want to do that right now?
Yeah.
'Kay.
Let's pick it. So I'll start it off. So what I did for past champion, for sure DJ.
Tiger Wood.
Tiger-
Too soon. Too soon.
Too soon.
Come on, Tiger. Heal up.
I hope you're listening, Tiger.
I need you out there. You're my pick.
Yeah, so DJ for sure for past champion. Just because, like, if you look at who's in the field, you got a lot of old timers. I mean, I guess you got like Danny Willett, you got Spieth.
Spieth's on a heater. He's playing great golf.
I'm picking DJ for the past champions.
Yep.
U.S. I'm gonna go DeChambeau. I just think, I mean, DeChambeau's for sure gonna finish in the top 10. I believe it.
Really?
Yeah.
He didn't last year, did he?
No,
I don't think so.
but there some things happened last year. Like,
Yeah,
you saw
right.
he lost that ball on 3.
Yeah, and he was complaining about how he just felt off. Come on, DeChambeau. I just felt
Trust
off
me.
today.
He's not feeling off this week.
I felt off this week.
He-
Maybe he'll play the first round and say,
He's gonna hit it in stride this week. He'll be good this week. So that's my American. International, I'm between 2 guys. I'm between Rahm and Corey Connors. Canadian.
the
Guy
Canadian,
stripes
eh?
the ball. He's a drawer. He always does well at the Masters, like top 20s. I don't know if that's every year, but last year he did well. He's been playing well recently. And then so that's international. And then the first timers, I would say Will Zalatoris.
Wow.
That guy's pure.
Okay.
I mean, he's a really good ball striker. His stats are kind of off the charts. And like college, when he played in college, like if you go back and look, like he was definitely like one of the best ball strikers. And like I said, the last 10 years, all the winners except for Patrick Reed have been top 10 ball strikers on tour. So I go Will Zalatoris for the first timer at the Masters.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna pop mine out real quick. All right. So I'm going international.
Oh, actually, sorry. I'm gonna add one more.
Okay.
Sleeper.
Sleeper?
I already
Okay.
called it out earlier. Lee Westwood.
That's right. That's right. You gotta put your boy in. So I'm currently looking at the field and who's playing in it, so I know exactly who I'm going to pick. I'm feeling. I think I'm gonna have to pick Joey's boy. I'm going with Sung Jae Im, international, hot player right now.
For your international? Okay.
Yep. And then I'm going American. I'm going okay, can my American also be the no, that doesn't make sense. I'm going with Kistner. Cuz I just saw him on my phone. And then
Dude, okay, hold on a second. I got to call you out, man.
these picks are not very good, are they?
You got to give me some insight. You can't just be saying names.
It's a valid point.
If you don't
insight?
have picks, just say you don't have
I
picks.
don't really have picks, but here's
Okay,
one pick.
Let's move on then.
Okay, fine. Let's
Because
move on.
I mean,
You're right.
If
Wait.
we're just scrolling through our phone looking at players, like
It's a valid point. I'm sorry.
it's fine.
I
It's
apologize.
just
Max Homa, though. I picked Max Homa
why?
because he's a freaking boss, man. And he's playing good.
Come
And
on.
he hasn't won a major. He won at he won at Riviera. He's playing good.
That's all you got?
That's all I got. What else do you want me to say?
Give me some. I mean,
Oh, I saw him swing last
is,
night. He was
no,
looking
why
good.
is he gonna play well at Augusta National?
He's just composed. He seems like he's a composed guy, and he seems like he's gonna win a major. That's my opinion. I think he's a dog.
All right. Next year when we do the Masters special,
Yeah,
we're gonna need more insight.
yeah. I'll give you more insight next time.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Did you catch the women's amateur this year? At
No,
Augusta?
I didn't. Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, good. How'd it go?
Look, the women's amateur is actually really sick.
Yeah?
It's cool, man. It's cool to go look at it. Some girl from Japan won. I watched her interview. She didn't speak English, so they had to have a translator, but it's just like I think she was 17. Like just to come
Damn.
over and play Augusta.
Yeah, that's pretty
I
sick.
honestly I love how they're bringing it to the women. Cuz obviously Augusta was infamous for not having a female member until like a couple of years back.
Yeah, it was like
5 years
5
back.
years ago. Yeah.
So I mean, it's cool, like, 'cause you want to see how they're gonna play it too, 'cause obviously, the women are notorious for being really good around the greens, like some of the top ones, like Lydia Ko.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been trying to watch more women's golf lately, 'cause they're starting to bomb it. You got Anne Van Dam,
Oh,
the girl who won last week.
yeah. Yeah.
I think what did she average? 325.
That's what
the
you
ANA,
said. Yeah.
the ANA Inspiration. Like, it's impressive, and it's cool to see that. Because
pretty
I
deep.
mean, what's been holding me back from watching women's golf is just, a lot of times, or back in the day, I haven't really given it a fair chance in the last 5 years. But it just seems like they're swinging so soft that there's not a lot of room for, or there's not a lot of room for error. So if they're swinging so soft, it's like, well, yeah, if you hit it 230 and you're swinging smooth, like 100 miles per hour, 100 whatever, 105, it's like, I don't know, it's just not as fun to watch. Like, I'd like to see guys swinging, 120 and actually, shaping shots. 'Cause like the slower you swing, the less spin there's going to be on the ball, so the less there's going to be shape. So it's like, if you just watch a girl hit like 230-yard drives, 240-yard drives that are like pretty straight with like less than 10 feet of curve, it's not that fun to watch. But it is cool to see their short games, and then it looks like it's trending much like the men's, where you're going to start seeing players hitting it longer.
Well, okay. Well,
So
can I say
Start watching it.
okay?
Yeah.
Can I say something about women's golf, in terms of like why I don't think it's watched as much as men's golf? I think the golf courses are too long. And we talked about this. I think the golf courses are too long. And too often when I see when I watch women's golf, whether it's I'll watch like the US Open usually or one of the majors. Usually when I'm watching, I'm seeing most of these women go at it at par fives with hybrids,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and like that's just tough. Like you can't expect to be going into greens with like hybrids most of the time and knocking it stiff, especially with some of the pins they play in these major tournaments. It's like
Mm-hmm.
I understand the concept of, you know, longer is more challenging, but to a certain extent. What's the tour average we talked about? Isn't it like didn't you say something like 230?
I don't think it's 230. It's probably around like 250.
Okay.
I would say. I don't know though.
So if
I'm
the
not
tour average
positive.
is 250 and they're playing like 6,700-yard golf courses, like that takes a lot. Like you're not going to be hitting wedges or you're not going to be attacking pins. I
Yeah.
don't think. At least most of the ladies.
And
So,
look, we'll talk about women's golf on like an actual episode.
Yeah, for
'cause I
sure.
actually want to look into it.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's such an interesting topic. Because obviously, you're not gonna have a women's NFL per se, but like golf, I mean, when you see women hitting the ball over, 280 yards, that's like, it's legit.
yeah.
And like you got like Maria Fossey. You ever see her? She's on the TaylorMade staff. She's just she absolutely smacks the ball, and she
Mhm.
hits it like 280 probably average, I would say. And I don't know my numbers. I'd have to look into it, but yeah, it's fun. I mean, like good golf is fun to watch.
Yeah. Good golf is fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's just cool to see. And you do have a good point about the length of the courses. I've read articles about, or I've read articles saying that like a course that's like the average length of a course on the LPGA tour is just not, it's not comparable to the length that the PGA tour players play.
Yeah.
In terms of like what they're gonna shoot. So
Okay,
like
so
like
they're-
the
they're
average
set up
cut
to score
scores,
higher.
the average cut score is a lot higher. The average winning score is a lot higher.
Yeah.
The average par 5 score is a lot higher. All these things. But
Yeah.
the women's amateur, or it has a formal name, but like the Augusta Women's Amateur, I'll call it.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's really cool. I'm gonna start watching it actually.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of it this year, but it's fun to watch. And apparently they played pretty well. Like I think the winning score was around even, and it's like I said, it's playing firm and fast. And there were and she's 17.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's impressive.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I also looked into the food at Augusta. Thought you'd be interested in that. What do you think?
I'm hungry. Let's talk about it.
So, it's apparently they have kind of like a Costco vibe where it's simple stuff.
'Kay.
They're
Chicken bake?
they don't have a chicken bake or pizza. They might have pizza. I don't know, but they got the famous is the pimento cheese on white bread, or the egg salad on white bread.
I love me an egg salad.
And those are both $1.50. So they have that kind of that idea of like simple and then just really cheap, like Costco.
Simple and cheap. Costco is also soon to be a sponsor, so that's why we're plugging them low key right now, right?
They also have a peach ice cream sandwich. And I got one more
Goodness.
quote for us. I love
Okay.
quotes. It's from DJ.
Okay.
Quote, "My favorite thing about the Masters is the sandwiches. ... All of them." End quote. So DJ loves the sandwich.
What a guy. You just see him munching on every tee.
Apparently, I think he likes the pimento.
I haven't had a pimento sandwich before. Have you?
I think I've tasted pimento cheese. I don't think I've had a sandwich though. A pimento cheese sandwich.
Yeah, I don't think I've had the sandwich.
But yeah, I mean,
I'd be interested to give it a try.
so this is like one of my. I kind of started the podcast off talking about how the Masters is my favorite tournament. Like,
Yeah.
Is it your favorite tournament too?
Between this and the Players and the U.S. Open, yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, just like, it's like top 5 bucket list type deal.
The golf course?
going to
play?
watch the Masters.
Oh, going to watch.
Because it would be so sick. And this whole food thing is cool, too. They got the savory and tangy barbecue sandwich, too. They had a new menu item this year. It's a chicken salad sandwich and then also a Crow's Nest craft beer.
Oh.
And everything's cheap. Everything's cheap. And
Hey, man,
and
you had me
apparently
at
it's
cheap.
really quality. Like, it's really good. And people, the Augusta National was actually, you could buy this package where they send you out the ingredients for these sandwiches and specials that you can buy on the grounds. And they'd send you like the pimento cheese and the white bread and the actual Masters like wrap that they used
really?
to wrap. And it's all like this whole quarantine thing, like they're gonna send it to you at home. Although there are fans this year. I don't know the percentage, but there's gonna be fans for sure.
That's hype.
Yeah.
That's so huge. I guess we could talk about that a little bit. I think fans at Augusta. For those that do watch, you absolutely understand. When there's a loud roar, I mean, I've never gone myself. I'm talking about just on TV. But like when there's a loud roar for something going on, and then like the video feed goes to another hole or something like that, and you can hear the roar. It's just like it's got to be so cool as a player and to be a spectator there, and for us watching it on TV, it's so intriguing to be able to hear something like that, a loud roar in the background, and you're just thinking, what was that? Like, was that a deal breaker? Was that something huge, or what was going on, or was something bad happen? You know?
Yeah.
So it's like the fans do make a big difference. I've come to realize in watching golf, like without the fans and with fans, I think it brings a serious energy to have the fans.
Oh yeah.
As a part of TV,
for sure.
It makes it seem like it's like a coliseum, you know, and you're
Yeah.
watching like the gladiators duel out, you know.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's cool to see people watching one person. You know? Like I mean, if you have however many thousand people watching like a basketball game or a football game, it's a team out there. But like when you have thousands of people watching one person, like that's just crazy to me.
Dude, I'd be yipping all over the place if that many people were watching me at Augusta.
What do you think the biggest gallery you've ever had is? Just
Watching me play?
Junior golf, college golf, whatever.
I don't know, maybe like 100. Yeah, I'd probably say like 100. Like when I went into a playoff for a junior golf event, I remember there was a decent amount of people watching me.
Did you get nervous?
You know what? I was so locked in, I really wasn't nervous. And when I made my freaking 20-footer to win, I felt, it felt pretty good. And then I noticed that there were people like standing around. So sorry, I had to just drop that in. Okay, it's clear. It's important for the people to understand. But so I guess it is different for each player and how they deal with the stress and the anxiety of so many people watching you. But I mean, if you're locked in, if you're really in the zone, I think you block most of it out.
Yeah.
So I think it just feeds you as a player, though. Like some of the energy, like it feeds you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of like I mean, I can't imagine how the guys on tour feel. That most of them are probably used to it, but like, it's like an adrenaline, you know.
Yeah.
Like you start to feel things that you can't replicate, just practicing or working. You can't replicate it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Really.
No, you can't. And I've tried to replicate it. Like not even the people, not even like spectators watching, but like just the feeling of competition and being like a heated competition. Like it's very difficult to create that feeling for yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were like doing a putting practice for like an hour and you had to make 50 in a row, maybe you'd feel a little something on 48 and 49 putts. But I mean, it's nothing like when you're competing against someone else, you know, someone else's like livelihood is at stake, or at least their career. And it's like, you know, it's big time. The Masters is big time. I think it's like the players in that I love the players because coming down the stretch, like people can make or break their rounds very quickly.
Yeah.
And so it's really fun to watch 16, 17, and 18. Just like it's so much fun to watch the whole back nine at Augusta,
Yeah.
you know?
You know what I think is a good idea? I thought about this is, like, it's no one's really going to be able to play Augusta unless you're playing in the Masters or you know someone.
If you know someone who knows somebody, yeah.
Yeah, if you know someone who knows someone whose uncle knows someone,
Yeah.
right? But what I was thinking is, like, do you remember Big League Dreams?
Oh, dude, that place is
Yeah,
awesome.
Big League Dreams was it is a baseball like a tournament facility in Arizona, where they basically make these stadiums that are replicas of like the classics, like Fenway Park, Yankee Stadium, the whatever the San Francisco Giants place is called. You know, all these you know, great baseball stadiums where there's, you know, a ton of memories and a ton of history. They recreate them, and then all these teams come, like these youth teams or little league teams or whatever it is, and they come play it. And it was just like it's one of my fondest childhood memories is like going to play like this Fenway Park replica.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, I know there is something like this out there. I've heard about it, but like an Augusta National replica. What do you think about that? Like if someone were to build, and this is out there, I've heard about it. Someone told me about this, but I don't know if it's like an actual course that's just like replicated after Augusta, or if it's just like a course that has each hole is like a famous hole. So like Augusta would maybe be like they'd have 12 like the par 3, but then like another hole would be like sawgrass, another hole would be like pebble. But like I don't even know, like it'd be interesting, but then again it's like, what are you gonna build a Augusta replica? Like how are you even gonna do that? Because there's so many hills and different nuances of Augusta where like you can't really do it like 100%.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There are like tribute courses out there where, you know, they'll pull some from Scotland or some from, you know, Ireland, and some from the United States on these crazy golf courses that everyone knows about. But I mean, the reason why Augusta and that golf course are so sick is because of, in part, the history that has gone on there, and in part the people who have played that golf course, how it's come down to the wire, how people have choked it away or clutched it like in the big time. It's those are the kind of things, those are the kind of stories that make a golf course like greater than a golf course, like has serious meaning for everyone watching, you know, because like I can remember, like I never watched things like Greg Norman choke it on 18 when he had I think he had the lead by 1, and he flared that second shot on 18 like way out there to the right, and I think he made double or something like that. And like just like those moments, or moments like Sergio when he went into the playoff and he flushed it against Justin Rose. Like it's those moments on the big stage on that golf course in particular that makes that golf course so special, and the memories of it, I think.
Yeah. And I mean that just goes back to the golf course architecture.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean
Bobby Jones, crazy guy. Like obviously he was a dominant player, but he was he practiced law. He has a mechanical engineering degree from Georgia Tech. And then he designed Augusta National.
There you go. That's all you need.
And the article, a couple articles I read were talking about this, is Bobby Jones, such a accomplished player himself, designing a golf course that's going to be a championship golf course. Like, he knows what, he knows what gets under a player's skin. He knows what makes a player think. He knows what makes a player crack under pressure.
Yeah.
Like, and he's implementing that into this golf course that he's building.
Yeah.
I think there's something to that for sure.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Because if you're not a golfer, if you're not a good golfer, like, obviously there are. I don't want to like say there's not great architects that aren't golfers, but if you're gonna build a championship golf course, shouldn't there be someone kind of inputting information who has like experienced, competitive golf at the highest level?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it depends on what kind of golf course you're trying to build. Like
Championship golf, like Augusta. But like back to the quote though, where Jones was saying how he wants the course to be, whatever it was, great for players of all skill levels.
Yeah.
Which I would argue Augusta is, because that's the thing about golf architecture that's so interesting, is you can just move the tee up and form different angles and make it, suitable for different skill levels.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is the sign of a good golf course. I totally agree with that.
So, okay, Ben.
Yeah. Ask me a good one. Are you going to ask me a question?
Winning score this week. What do we got?
If it is this,
It was 20 under in November.
yeah, that ain't it.
Course tournament record.
That ain't it. Whatever it is, that ain't it. I'm thinking 12. Calling it 12 right now.
All right, who you got?
Dude, we already talked about this.
No, who you got?
Like, who do I
No
have
category. No category. Just who.
John
you got.
Rahm.
John Rahm.
Just had a baby. He's got that, that baby feeling.
Did you know that Sergio named his kid Azalea?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool.
That is a good one. Yeah.
Because apparently he had I didn't even watch that final round.
What?
I was playing golf.
That was one of my favorite final rounds of golf to watch.
I was in Arizona just playing golf. And then I was in the pro shop afterwards, and I saw the post-round interviews. But on 13, so 13's named Azalea.
Yep.
And he hit it left
Yes.
into the trees, and then he chipped
He
out
chipped out
and made a crazy par.
Yeah. Made a good par. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he just named his kid Azalea.
Man, it's fitting. It works. It'll remind you of the good times when you won a green mat.
So you got
jacket.
16 under?
No. I said 12, dog.
12 under. 12
Don't,
under.
Yeah, don't get it twisted.
And who you got? John Rahm?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Off that sweet, sweet baby making. Who you got, son?
You know what?
Dude, you said Lee Westwood earlier. Are you?
No, that's my sleeper.
Oh, okay. All right. God, it's a peaceful night out here.
It's peaceful. It's a tough one, man.
Okay.
I should have put more thought into this one. I have picks. I just don't know who to pick, individually. I have picks for categories.
Okay. Well, the viewers will forgive you if you get it wrong. So.
You know what? Give me Cantlay.
Oh.
Yeah, I like Cantlay.
That's a coach's pick right there. That's a BC special.
The guy plays well at Augusta. I like
He does.
his demeanor. I like how humble he is. I listened to his whole press conference yesterday. I like Cantlay. DeChambeau, I love DeChambeau.
Yeah.
But I feel like everyone's picking DeChambeau, so I gotta pick something else.
Dude, I want to know how many
DeChambeau or
people.
Cantlay?
I want to know how many people are on the Spieth bandwagon after he got a dub.
I like Spieth for a top 20 for sure, maybe even top 15. I just don't see him winning. I don't know. He talked a lot about how he made a lot of putts on Sunday at the Valero. There's just guys who hit it too good.
Okay.
Yeah. I like Cantlay or DeChambeau. Lee Westwood is my sleeper, so those are my three.
No Brooks off the crutches.
Brooks, we'll see about Brooks. I mean, we'll see how he does.
Brooks off the crutches, man.
I watched this. I saw this thing about, when people squat to read putts,
Yeah.
he's gonna have his right leg like out, or left. Is
Like he's doing
right?
a yoga pose.
Yeah, like one of those yoga
Yeah.
poses, because he can't like bend it when he just like squats down.
Oh, hey, man, whatever gets the ball in the hole, right? That's the name of the game.
Yeah. So one more thing, Ricky's not in the tournament this week.
I feel bad because I took a shot at him last podcast with our sponsor. Yeah, Ricky has not been playing very well. People are.
What do you think it
What
is?
are people just upset? That I don't
Do you
know.
think? Why do you think he's not like? Do you think he's overrated? Like a lot of the guys said a couple of years ago.
I mean,
in that
dude,
survey?
I like Ricky Fowler a lot. Like, I think he's a cool guy, and
Super chill, yeah.
he seems like a really nice guy. Otherwise, I don't think he'd get so many sponsorships. But the point is, you always see him on TV. You always see him repping the Farmers Insurance or he does some other one. Dude, there was a pretty funny one recently. I forget what that was for, but I swear he's in like
He's in a lot of commercials.
3
yeah.
golf commercials a week. So, I just think that people hype him up too much. He's a good player. He's real solid, but he's struggling right now for sure. His putting was his bread and butter.
Dude, his putting is so good.
But his putting has been struggling, serious.
Has it?
I've been on the struggle
He
bus.
hasn't been in contention, so I haven't seen him like play. But
Yeah.
I just feel like he. I mean, what's he sitting around, like 280, 290?
Yeah.
I feel like there's just like, if you're sitting around 280, 290, you got to be spot on with every single part of your game. But if you're sitting around like 300 to 310, like there's some leeway there.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about Spieth. That's how I feel about a lot of these guys. Is like the game's just moving. Like you got to start hitting the ball far. I feel
Okay.
like, I don't know. Like that's just, there's less room for error when you're back at 280 versus 310 or 305 or whatever.
It's true,
But yeah, I mean, it's cool. I saw JT's interview yesterday. He was talking about how some guy asked if like he would ever consider putting on 30, 40, 50 pounds of muscle. And
JT?
Yeah, they asked JT that, and JT was like, like I just don't see it. Like
JT's
it's
like,
not-
I could put on 40
well, no,
pounds,
like
but-
he's got a skinnier frame. Like he's an ectomorph. He's a skinny guy.
ectomorph.
Yeah, you know what that is?
You need to explain that to the audience and me.
Yeah.
I don't know
So
what
there's
that is.
ectomorph, mesomorph, and endomorph.
Oh, okay.
Ectomorph is skinny. Mesomorph is like just perfect, like yoked, and that like shredded. Adam Scott. And then endomorph is like a chubbier build, kind of like Bryson, where you can put on a lot of weight. And someone asked JT, he's like, you put on 40, 50 pounds, like, would you consider that to gain speed? And JT was like, I mean, I already swing it, plenty fast.
Dude, he swings all out.
Yeah.
When he swings,
And
he
he's
swings
got
all
a
out.
sick move, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like JT's got a crazy move. I love his move.
Hey, he just won the Players. If it ain't
Yeah.
broke, don't fix it. I mean, look.
also probably averages like 300, 305.
Yeah.
Like
No, he
guy
does.
hits it far enough, and he was basically saying that he thinks that there are other parts of his game that he thinks that he should address instead of just like going on this, because it is like it's an experiment, man. Like
Yeah.
I listened to Bryson DeChambeau's coach Chris Como talk about it, and it's like one of those things where Bryson was making a lot of money on tour, and then he decided to radically change his physique and his golf swing. Like his golf swing is a lot different now. And Chris Como was saying that like they left cookie crumbs kind of behind just in case shit hit the fan and he would need to kind of come back to where he was at, but obviously that wasn't the case. But yeah, it's like it's radical stuff, but I think JT's he's good.
Dude,
I mean,
all these players in the top 10, okay, Justin Thomas, John Rahm, Dustin Johnson, DeChambeau, Morikawa, all these guys, if they have a hot week, they're probably winning the golf tournament. Like, all these guys are talented enough where they can win a golf tournament if they're on a heater.
Yeah.
And like, and the only way I think for all these guys are so talented on tour, but if the top 10, if those guys play really well, then I think one of them is going to win it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I heard Brandel say earlier this week that the Masters is the easiest tournament. He was saying that it's the easiest tournament to pick a winner. Because you have this stat where the last 10 years the winners have been inside the top 10 in strokes gained tee to green. And then it's just like you got to pick players inside the top 20 in the world. Like, it's already a small field. It's only 88 players. And it's like, I mean, it's not that, like, think about the last 10 years. I mean, besides maybe Danny Willett, all the players who have won, like, they're just they're in that
already.
category.
Yeah.
They're in that top 20. They're in that top 10 strokes gained tee to green. Like, it's not that difficult. Like, whereas if you have a U.S. Open where it's like kind of a fairly new course, and there's different conditions, like, might be a little more difficult, or like an Open Championship.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Hey, I don't know why we haven't brought up his name. What are your thoughts about Morikawa this week?
Dude,
he's a freaking striper. He's always in it.
I've been talking about Morikawa since day one.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I went and
have
watched
too, man.
him.
This guy's
I went
good.
and watched him like in his third or fourth tournament on tour. I went and watched him in Napa. Guy he strikes the ball. Morikawa is like one of those guys. He does things differently. Like, if you look at his swing, his left hand is so freaking weak.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm saying? It's turned over that way, and it's in the palm. And that's why he gets that bowed left wrist at the top. And then he comes in, and like right before impact, his wrist is like, it's like that.
Yeah.
It's super flex. And it's one of those things where it's like DJ and Rom. Those guys with those flex wrists and just rotating like a madman. And like, it's cool to watch. Like, it's fun to watch. You slow it down. You see it in slow-mo. And you're like, this guy is so pure. And his swing is so technically sound. And he's such a good ball striker. Let me see how I can implement this into my game. But it's tough. Because, like we've talked about, everyone's different. Everyone has a different like genetic makeup. It's tough to try and copy guys who have that, distinct move with the bowed left wrist or the, a ton of rotation, or like Victor Hovland, another good example.
Yeah.
Bowed left wrist, comes in like a lot of right lateral bend, and he's like super open at impact. Like, those guys are just they're freaks of nature, and it's cool to see. Like, you don't see a lot of guys back in the day who swung like that, or maybe you do, but like way back in the day. I'm talking about like early 2000s, like kind of like when I was watching golf growing up. But it's fun to watch. We got Richard.
That's a boy, Richard. There we go.
So yeah, I mean, Morikawa this week, I don't think he's gonna win. I think he hits a cut predominantly, like predominantly.
Nicholas hit a cut every time.
That's cool.
No,
that's
cool.
I would put a ton of money that says Morikawa is not going to win this week. I think so. Just let me finish.
This was quoted.
Yeah, let me finish. Trust me. I know. He's no, like, he's not.
Okay.
So A, he hits a cut.
Yep.
B, he doesn't have the course knowledge.
Okay.
And which is huge. And C, he's not a great putter, relatively speaking, to the rest of the field.
He can get hot.
I don't know. I don't like. I would put a ton of money saying he's not going to win. I think he will win a Masters eventually, but I don't think he's a good enough putter at this point in his career. I don't think he knows enough about the course. There's a huge learning curve for Augusta, and I think that he needs to figure out how to play a draw with the driver instead of a hook.
Okay.
That's just what I'm saying. And I heard him say it. Like, he was like, I need to just play my game, as in hit my cut. He's been working on a more straighter shot, but that's his pattern, dude. Like he's not an artist like these guys you talk about, which isn't a bad thing. But I would argue that he is not an artist. I would argue that he is a ball striker who plays a stock shot 95 probably more percent of the time. And like I've watched pretty much every highlight there is to watch on Morikawa because he's so pure. And the guy just doesn't draw it unless he absolutely has to. And when he does, it's like with the driver especially, it's not as accurate.
All right, those are valid points. Valid points.
But I think eventually he wins a Masters.
Okay.
I do. Because I think the guy's like you can tell he's smart. He's obviously just like genetically perfect for the game of golf, and I think eventually he figures out how to play like a straighter shot with the driver and gets his putting figured out. Like he switches to the saw grip, wins a WGC, kind of under the tutelage of Marco Mira, which is cool because that's kind of like who Tiger was up close and personal with, which is very interesting. But that's not like I'm pretty sure Mark Steinberg is Morikawa's agent. I don't know. I saw him like roaming around Morikawa at the TaylorMade shoot. That's super interesting too because I don't think Mark Steinberg is many people's agents. I know he's Tiger's agent, obviously, but like to come into Morikawa is just like he's gonna win it like a shit ton of times on tour.
I agree. He's a serious stud. That's why I bring him up. He deserves to be at least mentioned in this topic, even though it is said here that he's not going to win. Yeah. Well,
so hey man, I think this is like obviously this is a Masters special. So it's kind of just like us throwing stuff around.
Yeah.
Normally I like our podcast to be more like debate.
Yes.
I like debates.
I do too. I like debates. I like analytical debates. I like getting deep into the numbers, the facts, the stats.
I like just having like one of my favorite things is like having like a really, really passionate opinion and then someone just like
trying to wreck it.
No, just someone bringing up a perspective that I never even thought about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll definitely get into that in the future podcast. I think we're gonna have our first guest next week.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Who's it gonna be?
I'm hoping BC.
I'm hoping BC shows up.
I asked him. He said he's down.
All right, that's cool. Yeah.
So that's our golf coach.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is more of a. I mean, this is our spring break technically, so we're trying to have a good time, obviously, by the things we're consuming at this moment, and but yeah, we'll get back on the real grind come next week, eh?
Yeah. I was gonna ask you one more question.
Okay. Do it, baby.
What is the meaning of life? No, I'm just kidding. What's if you were to get a ticket to Augusta, where would you want to go? Like anywhere on the grounds, where would you want to post up for the day?
Oh, okay. Where do I want to post up? All right. I'd want to post up on 15 on the green there, because I could see the shots from 16 coming over, and you could watch the shots 15 flying in, and the roars are insane down there. So that's where I'd post it.
It's interesting.
Is it?
I hate posting it. Watching balls come in.
Okay.
It's my least favorite thing.
Okay.
I'm like, it's just so it's so abstract. I feel like
it's a good point.
I love to be right next to the player as he's hitting a golf shot.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
So I like 16 right next to the tee box.
Yeah, that's a good spot. I like
16 right off the tee box.
Nothing else to say.
I love seeing like crisp iron shots, so that'd be like the perfect spot for that.
Dude, remember when Michael Phelps was right behind Tiger?
Yeah. That's
sick.
that's just like the best shot. Like,
yeah, that is so
dude,
cool.
that shot, man, crazy.
Yeah.
Tiger's tee shot on 16 in the 2019 Masters.
Yeah.
So yeah, 16 right behind the green, maybe 12 right behind the green would be cool.
But you can't go 12 behind the green.
Sorry, behind the tee box. Sorry.
Yeah, 12 behind the tee box would probably be my second spot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right, man. Well, that was a good podcast. We We talked
I'm
a little bit
excited
about
to
the
watch
Masters.
the Masters.
Oh yeah, pumped too.
Yeah.
We'll have to get it in while we're here in slow.
Yeah. So next week hopefully we'll have our first guest.
That's right. Yeah, I'll close it out here on a beautiful night. You can't really see the sunset because the clouds are a little bit out. The marine layer.
The ocean's out yonder.
It is out yonder. Here from the 805, and yeah, Luke, we'll get after it next week.
Most definitely. See you guys next week.
We talking harpsichord, I played that too, cuz everything, I do everything, yeah.